China grapples with tensions in Tibet and Xinjiang, facing accusations of human rights abuses. The Communist Party's strategy involves legal frameworks, surveillance, and suppression of cultural expression. The plight of Tibetan Buddhists and Uyghur Muslims has drawn international criticism. China denies wrongdoing, calling it foreign interference. This essay explores China's methods, international reactions, and the human cost. At the heart of China's control over Tibet and Xinjiang lies a carefully constructed legal framework designed to regulate and restrict the lives of ethnic and religious minorities. While the Chinese constitution ostensibly guarantees freedom of religion, the reality on the ground tells a different story. The CCP, through a series of laws and regulations, has effectively criminalized any form of religious expression that falls outside its narrow definition of normal religious activities. One of the most potent tools in this legal arsenal is the Regulations on Religious Affairs, which grants the state sweeping powers to monitor, regulate, and suppress religious activities. These regulations, frequently revised and expanded, mandate the registration of all religious groups, places of worship, and religious personnel, effectively bringing them under the direct control of the CCP. Furthermore, the CCP has implemented laws that criminalize what it vaguely defines as separatism, extremism, and terrorism. These broad and ill-defined terms have been used to target individuals and groups who express dissent or advocate for greater autonomy for their regions. The result is a pervasive climate of fear and self-censorship, where even the most innocuous expressions of religious or cultural identity can have dire consequences. To enforce its legal framework and maintain a tight grip on Tibet and Xinjiang, the CCP has created a sophisticated surveillance state that permeates every aspect of daily life. Advanced technologies including facial recognition cameras, biometric data collection, and artificial intelligence are deployed on an unprecedented scale to monitor and track the movements and activities of citizens, particularly those belonging to minority groups. In Xinjiang, where the Uyghur Muslim population has borne the brunt of state repression, this surveillance apparatus is particularly pervasive. The region has been transformed into a vast open-air prison, where every move, every interaction, and even every thought is subject to scrutiny. Uyghurs face constant surveillance not only in public spaces but also in their homes, places of worship, and even online. This pervasive surveillance is accompanied by brutal and often arbitrary repression. Human rights organizations have documented widespread evidence of mass detentions, forced labor, torture, and other forms of ill treatment in Xinjiang's notorious re-education camps. These camps, which China claims are vocational training centers, are estimated to hold over 1 million Uyghurs and other Muslim minorities. Section 4. The World Reacts: International Condemnation and Chinese Defiance. The human rights situation in Tibet and Xinjiang has drawn widespread international condemnation. Western governments, human rights organizations, and the United Nations have all expressed grave concerns about the CCP's policies and their devastating impact on the lives of millions. The United States, Canada, and the European Union have imposed sanctions on Chinese officials and entities implicated in human rights abuses. China, however, remains defiant in the face of international pressure. It vehemently denies all allegations of human rights abuses, dismissing them as lies and political manipulation. The CCP maintains that its policies in Tibet and Xinjiang are necessary to combat terrorism, separatism, and religious extremism. It insists that it is promoting economic development and improving the lives of people in these regions. Furthermore, China has launched a sophisticated propaganda campaign to counter international criticism and promote its own narrative. It has invited journalists and diplomats on carefully curated tours of Xinjiang, showcasing what it claims are signs of economic progress and interethnic harmony. However, these efforts have done little to quell international concerns. Section 5. A Legacy of Loss: The Human Cost of Control. The CCP's relentless control in Tibet and Xinjiang devastates millions. Suppression of culture and pervasive surveillance create fear and despair. Families torn apart, communities shattered, cultures near extinction. In Tibet, monasteries destroyed, nomads resettled, culture suppressed. The Dalai Lama remains in exile. In Xinjiang, Uyghurs face cultural genocide. The international community must hold China accountable. The plight of Tibetans and Uyghurs highlights the fragility of human rights.